Top two from 2006 now gone, with the French gone as well. But really sensational stuff. Paraguay, group winners. Slovakia finishing second. Ireland get to play them in October, I think it is, in qualifying for 2012. But the greatest day in their soccer history since they became an independent nation back in 1994. Amazing stuff. Liam, Italy gave it a right good go at the end. It's the end of an era, though.
Yeah. The match was terrific in the second half.
Wasn't it?
Absolutely brilliant. The most exciting match we've seen in the World Cup. As Trevor Stevens said in commentary, Pirlo made a big difference to the Italian team. He brought an assurance about their play. Players could give him the ball, and he was starting all the moves on. Quagliarella did well too. But really, that's a half an hour of decent offensive football in all three games. You have to say Slovakia deserved it, because over the 90 minutes I thought they were a better team. But so many twists and turns in that game, it was amazing. Italy did have to leave themselves a little bit bare at the back to push on and try and get the goals, particularly when they went 2-0 down. But, you know, it was such a fine margin between qualifying and not qualifying. We saw the Italians have a goal chalked off for offside. It's doubtful whether it was offside, but it had everything that second half, and for me, the most exciting game of the World Cup so far.
Yeah, we were up and down off our seats in here, Dennis, quite a bit. That stunning second half.
Well, it was made because of the way Italy were forced to play with a bit of adventure. I mentioned Pirlo coming on there, but Slovakia did really well. I mean, they could have hit him on the break, could have scored even more goals. Had to defend deep, and Pepe right at the last minute there could have squeezed them through. And that, but it is an end of an era. You feel that. You feel that the two goals that Slovakia scored in the second half were real sloppy defending. But well done to Vitek in particular, who scored a couple of great goals. The second one just taking a chance and getting in there. It was a great to watch.
But they had nothing to lose. They had to go for it. We said that before the game. And the Italians went up to the task in the first half, and they were the most positive team. Ireland will be looking at that in a different light to the first two games, because the first two games they didn't show that positive play. Hamzak had a much better game today. A couple of the subs that came in, or a couple of the replacements that came in, the little lad, what's his name, Stock? Yeah. I thought he had a very good game. So, as I said, they'll be looking at it a little bit differently now and saying they're going to be tough opponents. As Dennis said, they looked a close-knit group. Great shot at the end of Weiss and his son hugging one another. Who he left out today. Yeah, he left him out, and we had all sorts of rows with the Slovak press, didn't he? As you do when you don't, when the press are on your back. So great vindication for the coach. I'm delighted for them. Obviously a bit sad for the Italians, but I didn't expect them to go very far in the competition. I did expect them to get out of this group.
Yeah,
they finished bottom of the group.
Bottom of the group, just like the French, actually. But as I said, the two teams that were in the final in Germany and Berlin in 2006. Liam, do you feel sorry for Lippi?
Well, he knows the game, doesn't he? He knows that, you know, you've got to enjoy the highs when they come, because there's plenty of lows in football, and he'll be ridiculed for the team he picked, the fact that he didn't change the team over the course of the last 2 years and introduce some young players. But if you look at the bigger picture, it's a sad indictment of what's going on in Italy at the moment, that there are no young players. The youngest player in this team is 23 years of age, and that can't be right. There's no stars emerging. Dennis said before they kicked off. Inter Milan didn't have one Italian player apart from Balotelli, who played a bit part role in the Champions League triumph and in winning the league over in Italy. Roma have only got one Italian player, and you know, questions have got to be asked of why aren't they producing these young Italian players. I think the coaches in Italy are so cautious and defensive that they're frightened to introduce inexperience of the younger players. They're frightened to give them a chance because they want to rely on the older fellas who know the game, and I think it's to the detriment of the Italian team and the bigger picture in general.
Yeah, because looking forward, Dennis, it'll stifle Italian football, particularly with the national team, completely if they don't change that looking into the future. Because you know the way this result will be received, and Liam mentioned it earlier about humiliation was the word you used, Liam.
Yeah.
About they have been humiliated, and that's the way the Italian people will feel.
Well, all the star players playing in Italy at the moment are foreigners. I mean, we've seen 2 lads play for Chile, who play for, I think it's Udinese.
Yeah.
The lad Asamoah, who's the player in the whole, he plays at Udinese as well. Obviously, we've mentioned about Inter Milan. So, as Liam was saying, the players are growing up, are playing without freedom, and there was nobody in that team today that could do something different, that could open up a team. Pirlo got on the ball and passed it, but there was no player that could take a player on and do something, the unexpected. Defenders don't like marking players. You don't know what you're going to get out of them. Players are normally creatures of habit, Dara, and they normally go one way. And you could see this in the first half with Italy. It was just straightforward, predictable, easy to defend against. Even the second half, I mean, to be fair, Quagliarelli, when he came on as well, he showed a bit of enthusiasm, but they've got no real player who can get on the ball and do something different, do something unpredictable. And I think that's, as Liam says, an indictment of what the Italian league is at the moment.
This will be greeted in Italy, Dara, a bit like it was in '66. Now, I know there's a lot of people, I think Dennis was born after '66. But I was only a kid, and I remember what happened when the Koreans knocked them out. They got knocked out by North Korea in England in 1966. And what they did then was they banned all the foreign players. They just said, that's it, we're not bringing any more foreign players into the country. We're going to build Italian players. We're not going to have foreign players stifling Italian players getting through. Well, they can't do that because of the European law. They just can't do it. But what they have to do is introduce younger players into their teams. Maybe a quota of young players have got to actually play in these Italian teams. Otherwise, they're going to struggle.
OK, guys, for the moment, we'll have more chat, and we'll look back at the incidents in that game from Johannesburg.